Seed and fruit development. The goal of reproduction in every living organism, including plants, is to create offsprings for the next generation. One of the way that plant can produce offspring is by forming, making seeds. The flowers must be pollinated in order to produce seeds and fruits. Seed development is initiated by fertilization. The integuments of the fertilized ovule persist and get transformed into the seed coat of mature seed. Seed sometimes consists of two distinct coverings, a typical outer seed coat, the testa, and inner thin membranous tegumen. The nucellus in the ovule may persist in some genera like black pepper and beet as a thin papery layer. The perisperm in some seeds and food reserves in endosperm are partially used up in the development of embryo. Obviously, in such seeds, the endosperm remains conspicuous and fills a greater part of seed. Thus, the resultant seed is endospermic or albuminous. Example castor, coconut, maize, etc. In other words, seeds embryo absorbs food reserved from the endosperm completely during its developmental stages. Thus, endosperm disappears disorganized in mature seeds. The resultant seed is non-endospermic or X-albuminous, example pea, bean, etc. The cotyledons in some non-endospermic seeds act as a food storage, and in others they are the first photosynthetic organ. Micropyle persists as a small pore in seed coat to allow the entry of water and oxygen during soaking. Fruit development is triggered by hormones produced by developing seeds. As mentioned earlier, after fertilization, the zygote is formed and the ovary begins to differentiate into the fruit, and ovary wall develops into pericarp. Pericarp is basically three layer which get differentiated in the fleshy fruit like mango, coconut, etc. Significance of seed and fruit formation. Fruits provide nourishment to the developing seeds. Fruits protect the seeds in immature condition. Seeds serve as an important propagating organ unit of plant. Seeds and fruits develop special devices for their dispersal and thus help in distribution of the species. What is dormancy? Dormancy is a state of metabolic arrest that facilitates the survival of organism during adverse environmental conditions. Structural or physiological adaptive mechanism for survival is called dormancy. Mature and viable seeds will not germinate even in presence of favorable conditions, and they are dispersed at different places during dormancy. Viable seeds germinate only after completion of dormancy period. What is apomixis? Apomixis, it is a phenomenon of formation of embryo through asexual method of reproduction without formation of gametes and the act of fertilization. Alternatively, it is unusual sexual reproduction where there is no meiosis and syngamy. Embryo develops in the ovule and ovule develops to form seed. In apomixis, when a gametophyte organ or cell produces embryo-like structure without fertilization, it is termed as apogamy. Similarly, when diploid sporophyte cell produces a diploid gametophyte without undergoing meiosis, is called apospory. Example: orange and mango. Recurrent apomixis. In this type, the embryo sac generally arises either from an archosporial cell or from some other part of nucellus. In diplospory, the unreduced embryo sac is derived from the diploid megaspore mother cell, Taraxacum. In apospory, the nucellar cells give rise to apomictic embryo sac. Um, and the next is a parthenocarpy. This term is coined by Knoll, 1902. It is the condition in which fruit is developed without the process of fertilization. It occurs naturally in some varieties of pineapple, banana, papaya, etc. In these plants, it seems that placental tissue in one fertilized ovary produces auxin, indole, 3 acetic acid, IAA, okay, which is responsible for enlargement of ovary into fruit. The fruit resembles the normally produced fruit, but it is seedless. What is polyembryony? It is the development of more than one embryo inside the seed, and the condition is described as polyembryo. Okay, it was first noticed by Leeuwenhoek 1719 in the seeds of Citrus genus. It is the occurrence of more than one embryo in a seed which consequently results in emergence of multiple seedlings. The additional embryos results from the differentiation and development of various maternal and zygotic tissues associated with the ovule of seed. Polyembryony may be true or false depending upon whether many embryo arises in the same embryo sac or in different embryo sac in same ovule. In adventive polyembryony, an embryo developed directly from the diploid cell of nucellus and integuments, as in citrus. In cleavage polyembryony, zygote proembryo sometimes divides cleavage into many parts or units. Each unit then develops into an embryo. Polyembryony increases the chances of survival of new plants. Nucellar adventive polyembryony is of great significance of horticulture. And here the end of chapter.